this great architecture or capitalist ambition?
Even with the money and the engineering to make buildings like this possible, you can't just put a super slender skyscraper up wherever you like. Developers need permission to get their projects off the ground, and there are restrictions on how tall they're allowed to build. But here in New York, there are a lot of different loopholes they can use to go beyond the limits.
To try and get my head around all this, I went to go and see Sam Stein. He's a senior policy analyst at the Community Service Society of New York.
For anyone who hasn't heard of that, what is it? How would you describe it to somebody on the street?
First of all, zoning is the rules about what can be built where, at what height, and what width, and with how much space in between, etc. Incentive zoning says the developer can violate those rules to a certain degree if they do something else that is to the public's benefit.
Just to the west of Billionaires Row, New York City used zoning incentives with the Hudson Yards development to upgrade the subway, create new public parks, and expand the nearby Javits Center. On Billionaires Row, 157 got a tax break from building some affordable housing in the Bronx. But we'll get more into that later. Remember how developers bought up a bunch of air rights to be able to build even taller? Well, the way those rights are obtained typically means the developments are able to move forward without going through the usual public or environmental review process. The Municipal Art Society of New York put together a report called The Accidental Skyline, which looks at how the current New York City zoning regulations have enabled the rise of super tall skyscrapers across the city. This graphic shows the hotspots of unused development rights in 2014 and where new developments popped up a few years later. Billionaires Row sits right in the middle of one of these hotspots, here in Midtown Manhattan. 432 Park Avenue was able to rise so high in part because of another loophole in the city's zoning laws. Any floors used for mechanical or structural equipment don't count towards the total height of the building. And at 432 Park, roughly a quarter of its floors are reserved for equipment, not apartments. There are legitimate reasons to have so much space reserved for mechanics. For one, the open-air mechanical floors allow wind to flow through the building in order to reduce any sway. And of course, you need space to store the heating, air conditioning, and elevator motors. But there's an ongoing debate about whether developers are exploiting the rule in order to build further into the sky. This great architecture or capitalist ambition, can those be the same thing? That the very essence of New York?